this is Persephone, and I haven't lost it. It's just that I'm participating in one of the sites that I work on, like many vids, as a zombie nurse, because there is a contest. And since we have a small break from that filming, because I have to prepare like for there, I decided to make a video for YouTube. So today I want to talk about something that I think a lot of beta men are going to find useful, and no one is going to tell you because in our current dystopia has become a taboo. The importance of having standards as a beta man, or having high standards to take it one step further. This video is inspired by what happened to me recently, that I don't know if you watched the previous video about the haters, but long story short, on my AMWF Facebook group, I expressed the belief that I don't want to date someone who is obese. And if I wasn't the group creator, I would have 100% been kicked out of the group. So that's why I created the group, because, control freak, playing out of the group, no one can kick you out. But that's not about me. It's about the fact that how dare I have a standard? How dare I say that, by the way, a small clarification. I did not say that I need someone who looks like a K-pop star or a bodybuilder or an athlete necessarily. Not that if I did, I would be against it, but that was not the point. I did not say that 5 extra pounds bother me, or that if someone put on a bit of COVID weight bothers me. No, I said I would not date someone that is morbidly obese to the point that is life-threatening, and that his doctor says that it's going to cause him diabetes, high blood pressure, and other life-threatening health problems later on. Which is, I think, very logical. And oh my god, I was called so many things, from narcissist to vain to sociopath to just cruel evil person trying to make obese people commit suicide. This is not a video about fat shaming. I believe that everyone has the right to choose how they want to look, and I will never ever go to anyone's video or see someone in real life and shame them about how they look. But that doesn't mean that I cannot say that I have a limit on who I date and who I don't. And then I realized in society we have got to a point where if we are not politically correct 100% of the times, we're being abused. I'm not talking about people saying, hey, we disagree with you, which is fine. I'm talking about people actively calling me names, harassing me. Someone was threatening to commit suicide because apparently he's overweight and I hurt his feelings. And I'm going to ask you, if you watch me, and you consider yourself that your life is terrible, and you could either be beta or you could even be a repressed alpha. I need to start making videos about repressed alphas because I've met some recently. And what is a repressed alpha? It is someone who was raised to be beta because he had this controlling, critical, toxic mom and his absent, loser dad, but his looks and his potential would allow him to be alpha if the circumstances were different. Like, he would have an above average height, an above average IQ, an above average penis size, yet he lives cucked by his mom. So what happens to me as an objectively privileged white woman in our society, I'm not going to deny it, may be happening to you 1,000 times more. The crime of having standards. For example, you live in a house and your mother is treating you very badly, you still live with her. Or you have financial problems and you move back because of COVID, and she is calling you names, she has made you her personal chauffeur, chef, wallet, emotional tampon, and you find yourself more and more depressed. And every time you try to say anything to anyone, the response is, "This is your mother, how dare you, she's doing everything she can." As if having a basic human standard of how you want to be treated makes you a bad guy. If you say, she's my mother, but she has been chasing away all of my girlfriends, and I want to set a boundary. I want to say to her, Mom, this is not okay, I'm going to die alone. You have to stop. You have to stop. This woman, I like her, I love her, I want to date her. People are going to gang up to tear you down into pieces. You are going to be a feast for all of the vultures. Especially if you come from cultures like Indian, Muslim, Asian, where a parent is the omnipotent evil god on earth that can do no wrong. Oh my god, they could be beating you in your 20s, 30s, 40s, literally beating you, whipping you with belts, stomping on you. And if you say, I don't want to be treated like that, you are the bad guy, automatically. Another example, less morbid probably, your friends. Let's say you have a friend that they're giving you backhanded compliments. You know them from high school and you have nothing in common. You just want better friends, or you just want to be left the fuck alone, you know? And I don't want to be cursing too much on YouTube, but it is what it is. Sometimes there are some people that we cannot stand anymore. And then people are going to say, wow, dude, so many years of friendship, you throw that into the trash, right? Who do you think you are? You should be grateful you even have a friend. So again, your friend is someone you should accept without having any standards. We live in a world where having any standards gives you so much bad treatment as if you have the highest standards. I was treated in this group so badly in my own group, as if I said, I want a dragon, I don't care, nothing less. Which, you know something, at the end of the day, even if I was a narcissist, even if I was the most delusional, it's my right to say, I want to date a dragon. I don't want to settle with some 5 feet tall, obese, random, generic Asian guy. And if I die alone with 50 cats, that's on me, right? Yet it triggers people immensely. So let's go to our next point. Why does this happen? Why we went from a society, like, I'm not going to say about the boomer generation, I didn't exist then, it's only what I read and what I saw on like documentaries and all of that stuff, but there used to be standards back then, especially for men. And even before that, for thousands of years, if you were a man that you wanted to have one beautiful wife or multiple women or a harem, you needed to be an emperor, like a conqueror, a warrior, extremely handsome, extremely rich. You needed to have a specific set of criteria. And now we're in a society where you exist and the world tells you, you deserve everything. I'm not talking that the world isn't unfair. I believe that things have gone to the other extreme and that actually men have it a lot harder than women, and that there are men who are incels unfairly, that there are men who are incels now that 30 years ago would not have been incels. And the difference is social media, that if the same man who is now an incel was born in the 70s and he was in a village and the women did not have access to handsome alpha men from all over the world, this man would have been married and now he will die alone. But there is another reason and another agenda, just my semi-conspiracy theory, you can take it or leave it, that this happens. And reason number one is that this keeps you depressed and enslaved and creates massive mental illness. Because if everyone around you is telling you that you're the bad guy, you're the narcissist, how dare you, and you're not like deficient in empathy like me and some other people, that I have some empathy but it's very limited, I save it for, you know, those truly need, then you're going to start feeling bad. And then eventually they're going to break down your spirit, if not your body too, and you will stop asking for more. You will settle. You will settle that this is your mom, this is how you're born, and you have to cope with it. These are your friends, and you have to cope with it. And here is the problem: draining people, toxic people, because that's what all of those useless people are. You use all of your mental fortitude, you use your willpower, you use your life force, whatever you want to call it, we can be more or less spiritual, to actually just survive being around them. And at the end of the day, you become a shell of a person. You have no dreams, you have no energy to achieve anything, you just want to rot in front of the TV, drinking or taking drugs or eating junk food and just wait to die. The other thing that happens is that these people create extreme emotional and hormonal imbalance. You start to have adrenaline exhaustion because they keep you in a fight or flight situation all the time. You start to have like spikes on your cortisol, and that creates weight gain, and the worst type of weight gain, because it's all fat around your waist, which harms your health, which makes you unattractive, which makes you lethargic. Fat has this thing of producing estrogen, so which further feminizes you. And before you know it, your life is in the gutter, and then if you go to the same people to talk to, because at this point you're in a kind of Stockholm syndrome situation, they have isolated you from everyone healthy or anyone you could possibly meet. So like the victim of abduction has only the abductor to talk to, and you go to them, they say, well, you're fat, you're depressed, go to the shrink to get pills. Why don't you work out more? I'm not anti-psychiatry, and if someone actually needs pills to function, because there is actually depression that is genetic, there is depression caused by a tragedy like loss of your child, some other tragedy, I understand why you should take antidepressants. But I'm extremely against taking antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication to tolerate living with assholes. No. They should be taking their antipsychotics, not you, because they're the ones who are the problem. But one more thing in this dystopia is that one person has the mental illness and the people around you end up taking the meds. Because good luck convincing a narcissist or a psychopath or a turbo-religious parent going to see a psychiatrist. They're not going to go. Either they're going to tell you there's nothing wrong with them and you're the problem, or they're just going to attack you and abuse you again. And if they go, they're just going to make themselves the victim and you the bad guy. So there's no point. The other reason this happens is because when people get enabled like that, this is my own dark theory. Again, you can take it with a grain of salt. I didn't read it somewhere. I didn't see it somewhere. People are going to say, are you a philosopher? Who do you think you are? Blah, blah, hate. This is just my theory. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I believe that in order for society to function, we need two things. Thing number one is NPCs, non-playing characters, aka drones, aka your parents, your friends, and everyone who never had an original thought of their own. And thing number two is we need people who are consuming. Preferably stuff that they're addictive, fattening, and they will send them to an early grave so that the state or the government doesn't have to give them a pension. When I say state and government, the reason that I don't make political videos or Trump, Biden, blah, blah videos is because I think that all of these things operate under a wider principle, and also because they don't get monetized, so I don't care what's your government. I know that if you are in a country with capitalism, most likely they want you to buy junk food, they want you to take antidepressants, and they want you to not be able to get out of the gutter where you are. So they make your parents and all the toxic people feel good about themselves, and you are the supply that sustains that system. And you have to get out of that system, otherwise it's not going to improve. So you're going to say, what is the solution to that? Because this video makes me even more depressed and it goes nowhere, right? The first and most important step to solve any problem is the realization that the problem exists. Because even that in our times has become so rare. We are almost a conspiracy channel, oh my God. You have standards, you don't want to date someone morbidly obese, mentally ill, who makes no money. Wow, you must be a gold digger person. You must be a psychopath person. Why don't you love him unconditionally? Unconditional love is the biggest bullshit on the planet. What does it even mean? That even if he cheats, I'm going to be there because love? Even if he hits me, I'm going to be there because love? If he's the right guy, even if he's a healthy guy, why shouldn't he just, match my conditions, which are essentially don't be an abusive loser. Don't be someone with no self-respect, letting himself go to the point of morbid obesity, So first of all, if you watch this video this far and you recognize yourself in this situation, you're not crazy, these people are horrible, and they're going to drag you down because it gives them something to distract from their own horrible or failed life, because they are sadists and seeing your pain gets them off, because they are NPCs, they existed and probably lived a life similar to yours, and the way they coped was by telling themselves, this is all there is nothing more. So when you go out there and you have the nerve to say, I don't want to be verbally abused, I don't want to be forever alone, I don't want to be forced to eat shit, to feel like shit, they get triggered because they think, wow, so the option to protest was there and I never took it? What the fuck, so I wasted my life? I see that in my own parents. I always say I need to start a channel about narcissism, but then again, I don't make enough money that I want to make to actually dedicate myself to a new channel, so here we are for now. I see that it's unthinkable for my father, for example, that I don't have children, that, in his age, women in their early 20s needed to have children, because I had the COVID vaccine recently, the first shot of Pfizer, and I had horrible side effects. I have nosebleeds, so much that they told me from the hospital they're considering taking me in for a blood transfusion and to stay, but last moment that was avoided when no one else in my family did. So I'm not anti-vaccination, I'm pro-body autonomy, so I believe that you should have the right to choose if you want to take the vaccine or not, and if someone said no, I would respect it. Although I chose to do it, I'm not against those who say I'm afraid or I don't want to do it. So I was mentioning that to my father. I said, I had a very difficult week with all of that, and he said, well, you don't have any obligations though. And I was like, what? And he said, well, you don't have a husband and children to just, care for. Like in his mind, I have to be a servant. I have to be, even in my 2 marriages, if I had nosebleeds, I wouldn't get up to just serve other people. For the 3 days that I'm dying from nosebleeds, they should be able to handle themselves. And if I had a child, the father of the child should have been able to take care of it. But my father cannot think that. And so many other people cannot think that. So if your parents had hard lives, they cannot imagine that, hey, maybe there is another choice today that didn't exist 40 years ago that you can actually take. So what do you do? What do you do is a very big conversation. A lot of those things are not YouTube friendly, so I have them on OnlyFans, but I'm going to give you the summary for now, and we're going to continue this conversation. Thing number 1, it's going to be like that old movie Fight Club that they said that the first rule about Fight Club is that we don't talk about the Fight Club. The first rule about having our eyes open and knowing the truth is we don't talk about the truth with the same people who are abusing us. So all disagreement with them is pointless. You're going to know inside you what's the truth, but you're not going to discuss it with them anymore. What you can do if you are a good person or if you're still in denial or both is you can sit down with yourself and even write it down. Sometimes it helps me to write down stuff, to like journal my thoughts and take out the unnecessary stuff to focus on what I need to say. You can sit down and find 3 things that they are deal breakers and you will never tolerate again. And prepare yourself, and when your parents, let's say, or your friends are in a calm environment and they are in a good mood, to start a discussion and say, you know, I want to talk to you about something, mom, or I want to talk to you, whatever, like your friend's name is. And you're going to say, this behavior, for example, calling me names, it cannot continue anymore. You don't have to be aggressive to them, because usually narcissistic people are extremely fragile and it's going to backfire, because if you trigger them once, they're going to be completely like deaf. I see it on my mother. My mother even hangs up on the phone when you say something she doesn't like, she hangs up the phone. So if you want her to hear what you have to say, at least, you have to be more like subtle, not very direct. You have to say to them, you know, this behavior cannot continue anymore, or it's not working anymore, and we should change it. And if they ask you what do you want, you have to come up with an alternative plan. You can say, you know, mom, I have no problem driving you to whatever place, let's say to the bus station, or driving you to your job, but on Saturdays and on Sundays I'm not going to be available because I want to do my hobby, or I want to see my own friends, or something like that. Usually you should, if you want to cut something off, it's better to just soften the blow and say, you know, I'm not going to be available for you to call me on Friday, but you can call me every Monday, you can call me once a week. To stop the behavior of every time I have nothing to do, I call you to harass you. I'm saying this because I don't think it's going to work, but I want you to know that you did everything you could. So there is a very small chance some people will listen if they're not extremely pathological, because personality disorders are a spectrum. Some people are more ill than others. So if someone isn't very pathological, maybe they will try. Or maybe for a few weeks there's going to be some improvement, or maybe there's going to be more permanent improvement. 90% of the chances is not going to work, but then you will feel good enough about yourself to move to stage 2, which we're going to describe right now. Let's say you say that, they abuse you again, they gaslight you, they say this never happened. So you can completely stop all the fighting. The best way to describe it is, I have cats, you know that I'm like one of the YouTube's crazy cat ladies, and sometimes the cats just bite you, just grab your hand, especially when I have foster cats and kittens and stuff. They may bite really, really hard. And your first and normal instinct is to just, you know, take away the hand or push the cat, and in this case, it bites even deeper. So what you have to do is you let your hand go completely limp, and after that it loses interest pretty soon, because the hand isn't moving, it's limp, it's not like a mouse or something that wants to try being a predator on, so it lets go. It's the same with toxic people. So every time they start a disagreement, just appear like uninterested, or say fine, or say okay, I hear what you're saying, and give them nothing back, and they will soon have to stop because you give them no supply. If this happens, it's not your fault. Those people are toxic and useless, and it's time to start developing an escape plan. Because if you don't actively start working to remove yourself from that situation, it's not going to resolve itself. these people literally feed off of you and have no reason to stop, because usually they're so horrible that I have heard women say, I had kids because everybody leaves me and I wanted someone who will never leave me. I have heard that from over 100 women, and it's scary, because if everybody leaves you, what kind of freaking psycho are you? And they feel that their kid is never going to leave them. So maybe you're that kid, maybe you're that boy with a crazy mom who's now 30, 40, 50, and your dad has left, either like secured him with obesity, or he had a heart attack from the stress, or actually got up and left one day. This is a single mom driving you crazy. I'm not a sexist person. I don't say that all women are like that or all single moms are like that. But if you find yourself with a woman who actually wants you to have no career and no dating life and no independence, you could be that type, that she had a son so that someone will never leave her. Then what? Then leaving is not going to be the automatic process of growing up and flying from the nest. You're going to have to start an escape plan to leave the nest. I have videos about the escape plan on YouTube. You can search on my channel and find them. I have a lot more on OnlyFans, and I'm going to make a lot more, so I don't want you to lose hope. You can definitely get out. I got out, and many others got out, and I help people get out, so you are going to get out too. We're going to do it step by step. What I said on this video is pretty dark, it's pretty upsetting, so I don't think you should watch like 10 videos at once or something. It can be triggering and overload. So for now, what you have to do is take some time to think, take some time to observe your situation with what I'm describing, what are the similarities, and in general, you have to always remember this. If you have tried and tried and tried to improve your life in one or more areas, like you tried repeatedly to find a girlfriend and you couldn't, you tried repeatedly to get a job and you couldn't, you tried repeatedly to lose weight and you couldn't, and nothing changes, the people around you are not good people. They're not on your side. I don't care if they're your parents, your relatives, your best friend, your brother, your pastor, I don't care who it is, they're not on your side. Either they are too ignorant and too like brainwashed, or too low IQ and they cannot help you, or they come from a different culture, they are very old and they don't understand the modern world, which is the minor case, or they are actively on the crabs in a bucket mentality. Their life sucks and they want your life to suck, and they're going to do whatever they can. You stay right there where you are. So for now, close your mouth, have that one conversation about boundaries that we mentioned, and observe. Don't react, observe. And soon enough, you will know who is working to keep you where you are right now. Okay, if you like this video, by the way, all YouTubers say like, subscribe, blah, blah. I don't care about any of that at this point. Of course, it would be great if you did them, but I want you to share this video or send it to someone or to any socials that you use so we can reach more people. Because I don't actively advertise, I believe that the people who want the help, they will look for it and they will find it. I had so many people who said, I Google how to lose weight, how to find a girlfriend, why is my mom toxic, and they found me, okay? Thank you for watching.